So here are our learning points. Now, first let's look at the perception of time in Italy. Italy is a polychronic culture. Do you still remember what is polychronic culture? In polychronic culture, it is acceptable to do several things at the same time. People are able to attend multiple events simultaneously. Simultaneous means at the same time. The approach to deadline is flexible. People do not have to complete one task before beginning the next. In a polychronic culture, the future tends to be seen as unpredictable, so that tight schedules are considered difficult and impractical. So as I said, right, because when you have to manage many things at the same time, it's really hard to schedule things in a very, very tight manner because, well, things are unpredictable. You don't know when and who will expect you to do something at what time. Okay, Italian business culture. Italian people are said to belong to a generally polychronic culture. We have already seen that. Although not all people are exclusively polychronic, it means that, remember, there are always exceptions. Okay? So when we say Italian culture, we are referring to the mainstream culture. But it's very possible that in Italy, for example, if people are educated in army, or if they received academic or business training in another place, they are affected by other culture, maybe they will see time sequentially. So they are not absolutely polychronic. Okay, so there are always exceptions, and you have to rely on your observation. And when you get along with the person, see the person as an individual. Okay. Italian people understand that delays are a part of life in general, okay, in the mainstream culture. They are necessary for developing the best possible product or service. They would rather spend more time perfecting a product or service than meeting a deadline. Now, the perception of time in Switzerland, this is another thing, okay? Swiss people, they are said to belong to a monochronic culture. In Swiss culture, future time is predictable and planned carefully. If extra time is needed, this will interfere with the plans for the next time segment. Breaking schedules and deadlines affect future schedules and deadlines, and this can have negative effects on relations and results. So here you can imagine that in monochronic culture, because people see time as a sequential segment, there are sequential time slots. So if one thing is delayed, other things later on will be delayed too. Life will become a mess. So that is not a good thing in this culture. They have already been used to very well organized way of life. Okay, so if their time schedule is messed up, is delayed, that will put pressure on them. In Swiss business schedule, most companies, they have a daily and weekly work schedule that determine when the company is open and closed. Okay, so this is another information about business schedule. When employees have lunch and when the employees can take breaks. Okay, these schedules vary within countries, but there are general work types that may apply to many companies within one culture. Okay, so next I will show you some business schedules. You will find that business schedules are not universally the same. In every country, different countries, they have their own different business schedules. Okay, so now let's look at some business schedules in some cities around the world. Okay. Now you can see the first chart. This is a brown one. Italy, Verona is one of the Italian cities. They work from Monday to Friday, right? and they begin to work at 9 o'clock, and then they have lunch at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And they have a very long lunch break from 2 to 4, even to 5. They have a 3-hour lunch break, and then they work late, so they have their dinner late. In London, basically, they work from 9 to 5, and they have one lunch break at 12. And normally, during their lunch, they have a sandwich or some very simple snacks for their lunch. In Taipei, we also work from Monday to Friday, and we have lunch break from 12 to 1. But in many companies, they have a lunch break till 1:30, right? And then people work. But very often in Taipei, people work late. They may not leave their office until 7 or 8. Kuwait is a Muslim country. Then they also work from Monday to Friday. They have a 2-hour lunch break from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then they have a prayer time. So work may stop for prayer, and they will stop their work 5 times a day for prayer. Okay, so this is business schedule, and you will find that in different countries, people have different business schedules. And some schedules are flexible, but in some countries, they will stick to their business schedule. Okay, next let's look at Italian business etiquette. So we have already said how Italian people perceive time, right? Then this is how people behave properly in the country. So when we go abroad, when we do business in a foreign country, what you should do, first you study the country's culture, right? The nation's history and geography, climate, what kind of clothes you should bring with you. And then, so you look for information. And you will study the business culture, and then you will study business etiquette. So what you should do and what you should not do in that country. And here with this lesson, you also learn business schedule, right? When you should make an appointment and when you should not make appointments, because you won't find people, for example, in Italy, in the afternoon, they have a very long lunch break. And for British people, they may not have business dinner. They don't have that convention. So after 5 o'clock, you should not schedule your appointment. Okay, now here, let's look at Italian business etiquette. To arrange a meeting, write in Italian first, follow up with a phone call. The best time for meeting is between 10 to 11 and after 3 p.m. And try to avoid making appointments in August, because August is the holiday season in Italy. You won't find people, okay? Anyway. And second, good manners and courtesy are prized qualities in Italy. Courtesy means politeness. When meeting and departing, always shake hands. This is valid for both individuals and groups. People are quite passionate and very friendly in Italy, but they also care about manners and considerateness, think for others. Italian culture is also collective culture. Italians are tactile people. Moving away or keeping your distance may be interpreted as cold and unfriendly. Italian people, they keep a quite close body distance with their fellows. So this is what it means. If you try to stand away from your business partner in Italy, they will think you are an indifferent person. You are an unfriendly person. Okay? When doing business in Italy, dress to impress. It means please dress yourself properly. If your dress is sloppy or your clothes are not delicate enough, they will judge you as a person without taste, without manners. So pay attention to this part. Okay, now next let's look at Swiss business etiquette. So we have already seen how Swiss people perceive time. And now let's look at all those manners and etiquette that you should pay attention to when doing business in Switzerland. Meetings are always by appointment, so it's not very possible for you just to bump into someone or just visit someone without any prior appointment. You won't be able to see that person anyway. The Swiss are perhaps the most punctual people on earth. Okay, people believe so. Once I was in Switzerland, indeed it was amazing because when I was there, their bus driven by drivers, their buses, their trains were all very, very punctual. It's amazing, okay? Normally, if cars or trains are driven, for example, controlled by computer or by automatic system, yes, they can be punctual. But it's amazing that all those buses are driven by people, human beings, but they can still be very punctual. Alright, you should arrive for any engagement at precisely the appointed time. This is especially true in the German-speaking areas. So, well, if you go to Austria, you go to Germany, people basically, they are pretty much punctual. So pay attention to your appointment time and don't be late. Standard attire for men, business attire, work attire for men includes finely tailored woolen suit, white cotton shirts, and plain silk ties with highly polished black leather shoes. You should dress well, but modestly, because the Swiss dislike ostentatious displays of wealth, and they appreciate clothing that is simply clean, well pressed, and in perfect condition. What does it mean? It means that Swiss people basically, they are generally all very rich. This is a very rich country. When you go there, you'll find that everything is so expensive. But Swiss people, they don't tend to show off their wealth. So when they dress well for their work, for their job, they will try to dress those kind of clothes of very good quality, but they will demonstrate themselves, they will show themselves and present themselves in a modest way. Okay, so this is kind of manner for them. Alright, here I would like to provide more tips on intercultural communication skills in here for management time. Do you remember that we talk about they are mingled working and the personal time culture and separate working and personal time culture? Okay, so we say their time is very important for every one of us. Every one of us has 24 hours a day. So this is the same for everyone, for every individual in the world. Every culture and individual balances working time and personal time in different ways, right? In some cultures, company time is often more valued than personal time. So this means that when life gets busy, personal time will be sacrificed for company needs. Yeah. So sometimes you may have a shorter lunch break. You may not have your holidays. Why? Because your job, your company needs you. Then you may sacrifice your personal time for company needs. But in many other cultures, personal time can take a priority. So when this is my lunch break, I will enjoy my lunch break. The shop will close, the phone will not be answered. Okay, I enjoy my lunch break and I have my holiday. Okay, so for this part, what is your point of view? Is company time more important for you or personal time more important for you? Okay, these are the references, and this is the end of first session. I will see you next time. Bye!